Good evening, and I'm forecaster John Bordash with you now to give you an updated look at Winter Storm Andrew and what we think will be the main impacts that you need to be worrying about as we head through this week and on into next week. So first we'll start off with the winter storm names that we unveiled last night. So just as a recap, we start off with Andrew, and Andrew's already occurring, or actually it is occurring, so it's blue, so it's off the list. The next one would be Bianca, then we go down to Cameron, down to Francine, over to Lisa, down to Nicole, over to Patricia, down to Will. So we do have a list of 21 names set up, and there are some criteria that low pressure systems need to meet to have the potential, at least, to get a name. Now, just because it meets all criteria does not mean that it's going to get a name. Now, for example, down in the southeast, our criteria to see a winter storm for snowfall is 3 inches of snow and sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds. Now, let's just say we have a low pressure system that has that, but it's going offshore pretty soon and it's going to bring very minimal impacts. Then obviously we're not going to name it. But if we're looking at a storm down in the southeast that's going to bring all that, and it looks like it's going to be posing some major issues, then that's what we're going to be looking at to be naming the storm. Now, it's different areas of the country have different requirements when we look at snowfall. In the mid-Atlantic and down over to the southern portion of the plains, we're looking at 6 inches of snow at least. Now, in portions of the Pacific Northwest or the Rocky Mountains where they usually do get lots of snow, those areas need to see around 8 to 12 inches at least, and that's just the snowfall requirement. Now, this does not include ice, or this does not include, well, it includes wind. Again, we do have criteria that is set up for storms to be named. So now we're going to take a look at what Andrew's going to be bringing. So, right now, here's the storm setup. We're looking at warm air developing along the east coast and through the southern plains. We're actually going to be looking at temperatures to get above 60 in DC for the first time in about 12 days. Now, we do have a low pressure system that we're tracking, and it's heading through the northern plains, and that's going to bring an area of snow through the northern plains through Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Idaho. These areas look like it's pretty certain that they'll see snow. Some of these areas have winter storm warnings in effect for anywhere between 6 to 14 inches of snow, and we'll show you the snowfall forecast right here from Weathercast in a few minutes. Now, it's pretty certain that this is going to happen, and we're going to keep the warm air in the east. Now, associated with this is a cold front that's been draping across the nation, and it's brought a lot of cold air through portions of the west. So obviously, again, with the cold front, you have cold air behind it. But it looks like it's going to be setting up as we head throughout the week, and it's going to happen earlier in the week the further east you head. Looks like we will look at this cold front to come through the nation, not bringing all that much precipitation with the primary low. You may see a few flurries of snow through portions of Toronto on over towards portions of New England. It's not going to be a big event. Then, here's the uncertain part. One, how cold will the air be? We know it's going to be super cold, but I'm not going to get into too much detail, but we'll be looking at some weather features to set up that will really make it tricky to forecast how cold. Now, cold in some areas is freezing, in others it's getting down to 60 degrees. It looks like we'll be looking at a cold wedge of temperatures right around freezing or a little bit above freezing, right up along the Mid-Atlantic. So you have the Appalachian Mountains right up through here. So really right up along the coastal plain of North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. These are the areas that we're really looking for in the uncertainty in the forecast, because it looks like we'll have a cold wedge at the surface. The question is, how cold or how warm will the upper portions of the atmosphere be? Then it looks like what's going to happen after we look at this cold front to move through, and it looks like it should be clearing the nation by around Friday or Saturday, is this is going to turn into a stationary front. And then we'll look at a low pressure system develop on it, and then move its way east and bring a potential for rain, snow, or ice in the areas in pink. So anywhere from Dallas, Oklahoma City, Memphis, southern portions of Missouri, near Springfield, Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta even, Raleigh, DC. Maybe some of the 95 cities may see something from Philadelphia, New York maybe, down through Baltimore, Washington, Richmond, down towards Raleigh, Charlotte even. These are the areas we're looking at for the potential for a winter mix. Maybe some snow, maybe some ice, or maybe just all rain. That's why I have snow and ice. Alright, this is the uncertain part of the forecast, and the time that this all happens will be right around Friday or Saturday down in the southeast, and we'll be looking at a Sunday and Monday time frame in the east. So, what about the snowfall forecast for the portion of the storm that we are pretty certain about, the area that you see that says snow? Here is what we're looking for snowfall through Wednesday night. Alright, so by midnight, I think these are going to be your storm totals. Now, these won't be finalized. You may see some more snow than this. So, we'll go into more detail in a second, but we're looking at a swath near Minneapolis. If you head north and east of the Twin Cities, north and west of the Twin Cities, you will be looking at 6 to 12 inches. South and east, you'll be looking at most an inch. You're going to be looking at more rain in southeastern portions of Minnesota than you will snow. But in portions of Minnesota, you'll be looking at lake effect snow. That's really going to enhance your snowfall, and that's what you're seeing right here. 8 to 24 inches or more is possible than in the Denver region. So what we'll do now is we'll bring up your snowfall forecast. Alright? Now what we're going to do is that we are going to look, what we're going to do is we're going to take you in a little bit closer to see some of your possible amounts. So if you look inside Minneapolis, it looks like down towards Rochester, La Crosse, you'll be looking at most an inch. I think you'll see snow, just not all that much. Minneapolis, I think that you have the potential to see right around, if I didn't make a guess, probably 2 to 5 inches of snow I think is possible for you. Now, the bigger areas that we'll see for snow is in portions of North Dakota. These areas in the purple have the potential to see over a foot, and then in this pinkish shade right here near Devil's Lake, that is over 18 inches near a foot. Now, this area right through here near Duluth, Grand Marais, Silver Bay, this is going to be the area that you get the jackpot of snow. Not even just this precise zone of pink. I think this entire zone right through here, you have a good chance because you're going to be looking at lake effect snows with the warm waters off of Lake Superior, and you're going to be looking at the snowfall to be lake enhanced. So I think these areas right on up through here, so near Silver Bay, maybe right around 20 inches of snow. On over towards Wales, you have the potential to see right around 17 inches of snow. Two Harbors, again, near 17 inches of snow. Near Toff, I'm thinking maybe 15 to 16 inches of snow. Now, as we zoom on out, again, I think down towards Minneapolis, again, maybe 2 to 5 inches, the possibility of 6 inches can't be ruled out. On up here near Devil's Lake, on over towards Maddox, maybe right around 18 inches of snow. Now down here into into the southwest, will be in the Rocky Mountains down of Colorado. I think Denver, you'll definitely see some snow from this. I don't think you'll see tons of snow. I don't think this is going to be your biggest snowstorm. I think in Denver, you may see right around 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. But out here in the mountains, we're going to be looking at a lot of snow. Even in the foothills, we'll be looking at anywhere between 3 to 6, maybe 9 inches of snow. Let's see, here in Boulder, maybe right around 8 inches of snow. Now, these areas you see here in the bright whitish pink, these are areas over 2 feet of snow. So, as we zoom in, let's try to find a location. Singleton, I think right around 30 inches of snow is possible for you. Maybe not that much. Maybe that's a little bit too optimistic, but I think that's what we'll be looking at for you. Portions of Utah, I think right in Salt Lake City, you may see some lake-enhanced snow. Nothing all that major, though. At most, maybe an inch. Again, this won't be your biggest snowfall right in Salt Lake City, but in your mountains just off to your east and south, I think you could be seeing some snow. Wyoming, you have the potential to see some snow on up here towards Coke City. Yeah, Coke City. 35 inches of snow I think is possible for you. Now, the uncertain part in the forecast again comes here. Alright. So from Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta, Charlotte. I think these are the areas that you have the potential to see maybe some snow, sleet, freezing rain. We have winter storm watches in effect from areas just north and west of Dallas through Oklahoma City, through Tulsa on over towards Fayetteville, and then you have some more over here in the tri-state as you head on over towards Paducah, down towards Union City, Poplar Bluff, Evansville, Madisonville, Merriam. These areas, right now we have a winter storm watch, so it's becoming a little bit, we're getting some more guidance, and again, with a winter storm watch in my head, I'm thinking there's a 40% chance of something's going to happen, which is higher than a 10% chance, and then in a winter storm warning, 70% chance. So we're sitting at that 40% chance. We have a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen in Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, West Virginia, on over here towards Delaware. Right now, it looks like we may start off with some rain. Actually, I will take off our snowfall outlook. Let's put on our North America model. We'll put on our precipitation type. Let's see if this is going to work. Alright, there we go. So again, maybe some rain. This is stopped at the 5th. So as we head on over into Thursday, I think the possibility exists with this front to move through, the cold front. Maybe some snow, sleet, or freezing rain behind it. Nothing all that major. Again, you may see some snow in St. Louis. I think that the NAM model overdoes it a little bit. But again, we're going to see some precipitation come with it. Some of it may be frozen, but it's really going to be areas with elevation. We'll switch over to the GFS model to look out even further. This gets a little bit more excited about the snow, sleet, and freezing rain possibility with the cold front. I don't think this is going to be the big deal with the frozen precip. But it moves through nevertheless, and then we look at it to stall out, and then we look at the potential, at least, to see some snow, sleet, or freezing rain in pink and purple. That develops down here, and as you see, we're looking at snow in the blue, the sleet in the pink, and freezing rain in the purple. And we're going to look at it to develop, and then over here in the Mid-Atlantic, we may be looking at that to develop even more so. And we may see a lot of snow, we may see no snow, we may see just rain. So I'll put this back a little bit, and we'll take a look at the snow depth from the GFS model. And this puts down a lot of heavy snow here into portions of Dallas, of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, southern Missouri. As she pushes forward into time, it develops a lot of snow in these areas, maybe even 6 to 12 inches in Cincinnati. And then what this does is it also brings in some heavy snows as we head on over towards Washington. We may be looking at some heavy snows even over to your north and west, and maybe switching over to a freezing rain event. So let's see if I can find this graphic. There we go. What's going to fall? This dictates what we're going to see. So here's the question. We'll definitely be seeing cold air at the surface. It's how much warmer we'll see above it. Now, if we see all snow, we're going to be looking at snow. All cold air, we'll be looking at snow in the atmosphere. Now, if we have warm air up at the clouds, but colder air through a lot of the atmosphere, then it'll fall as rain and then transition back over to ice puffs before hitting the ground, and we may see some sleet. Freezing rain, that's when you get that ice glaze, and we may be looking at it to fall from the clouds as rain, even hit the ground as rain, but then freeze on contact with anything. So in those winter storm watch areas, we're going to be looking at the possibility to see some snow, sleet, and freezing rain. We'll continue to keep you updated. I'll have an updated outlook for your snow forecast tomorrow morning. But until then, have a nice and safe one. If we get any new watches, warnings, or advisories, we'll pass them along to you. So have a nice and safe one and keep a weather eye to the sky. And again, we'll continue to keep you updated on what's happening with Winter Storm Andrew.